Yeah, so I just thought I'd do a video today on how to go about cycling through urban areas. So um, you might not know this, but like from my experience, most people that really like the idea of cycling who don't end up cycling are put off because they don't like the idea of cycling in urban areas. This especially applies to girls from my experience. They really want to get fit and get out on the bike, but they're just put off by being out on the open road, having to deal with cars and various um, road infrastructure. And I can really see where they're coming from. You know, when I first started cycling, it was a bit of a daunting prospect, and I didn't even really live in an urban area. I lived out sort of in the countryside, but we lived quite near main roads, which I suppose is kind of a similar concept. Um, so the idea of dealing with cars moving past very quickly and very frequently is, yeah, it can be something that people seem to dislike for obvious reasons. Um, but yeah, I just say that cycling is a safe sport. Um, Obviously, if you're racing or if you're doing anything extreme, obviously it gets a bit more dangerous, especially when you're riding in close proximity to other riders. But I can honestly say that cycling is a safe sport to do. Obviously, if you're really worried about your safety, wear a helmet. Wear a helmet even if you're not bothered about safety. It's always a good thing. Um, yeah, so if I was to give a few tips through riding in urban areas, um, the first one would be to first to just get confident on your bike before you start cycling through urban areas. So maybe don't just go straight into the city centre when you've first got on your road bike, for example. Make sure you're comfortable with the handling of the bike itself. If you're on a road bike, the handling can be a lot more twitchy than a normal sort of hybrid or mountain bike with more relaxed geometry. That's something that I definitely found when I got onto a road bike. Obviously you've got much more skinny tires and a slightly more aggressive position. So yeah, make sure that you're really comfortable riding your bike before you go into busy parts of cities, if you can. Um, Secondly, if you are riding a road bike and you're looking to improve, chances are you're riding with clipless pedals, so pedals that you clip in and out of. Um, what I'd recommend is that if you're still not 100% with those clips, um, just take them off, put on some flats for a temporary measure, and still go out on the roads. So then it just takes away one extra dimension of having to remember to unclip your pedals. I remember when I was starting out, you'd do the classic chopper mistake of forgetting to unclip when you come to a standstill and then sort of awkwardly tipping over on the road. You obviously don't want to do that. Traffic lights in front of all the cars and pedestrians. That's never fun. So as a tip from me, yeah, would be to um, put on flats and just get used to dealing with traffic without clips. And then when you get more confident, you can put your cleats back on and your special pedals. Another tip would be to always check your shoulder, ideally before and after you indicate. So one thing you need to do, yeah, is to do that. Um, People who aren't that experienced will tend to indicate and then pull out and not check. So just kind of treat it as driving a car, really. Check your mirrors when you after you indicate and before you indicate. So if you're riding on a stretch of road, and you want to indicate right. It's even more important. So check your right shoulder, make sure nothing's coming up behind you. Indicate and then move across. That way, you know that you're not going to get hit by any vehicle coming up behind. Yeah, just leading on from that, another good tip would be to yeah, make sure that you're comfortable taking at least one hand off the handlebars whilst riding. Um, Obviously, when you're riding out on main roads, you're going to have to indicate quite a lot because there's a lot of junctions you're going to have to sort of negotiate your way through and around. So you're obviously going to have to take your left or your right hand off the handlebars to indicate. If you're not comfortable with this, you may lose a bit of control whilst on the bike, especially if you're going at reasonably low speeds when the bike isn't as stable. So yeah, make sure that before you tackle these, you know, make sure you're comfortable taking both hands off the handlebars or one hand off the handlebar. So you can do that because that's really important. And lastly, or another reason would be another tip that I'd give. Sorry, would be to be confident. I know it's difficult because if you're new to it, you might not be that confident, and obviously a lot of confidence comes with experience. But if you can, try to make your presence felt on a road. So if you feel like it's a narrow road and there's parked cars, there may not be a bike lane either. Feel free to give yourself a lot of room. Don't feel like cars should be able to pass you easily. You are somebody that's as entitled as anyone else on the road. So make sure that you make your presence known. Obviously, you don't want to be an ignorant road user, but you know, um, be confident, especially when you're going around roundabouts. Make sure an important thing is to make sure that the cars behind you know what you're going to do. I'd say most of the time when there's accidents, it's a result of a breakdown of sort of communication between road users. So really make sure that cars and other vehicles know what you're going to do. So be very positive in your body language whilst on the bike. Also, make sure that you have good lighting. If you're riding in the dark, make sure not only that you have a rear light, but make sure you have a front light as well. You see a lot of people out there who kind of think, oh, I've got a rear light on, that should be fine. But actually, front lights are really important because what you can find is that if you're passing a junction without a front light, a car may not be able to see you and not pick you up as clearly, so they may pull out. So obviously, if you had a front light, that drastically reduces the chances of that happening. Also, if you can, put sort of fluorescent clothing on, so you can buy fluorescent cycling jackets, quite cheap, I believe, at the moment. So that's always a good thing to do. And lastly, I kind of learnt the hard way here, but always remember that people do stupid things. I remember when I just started cycling, and I was cycling up a high street, and there were loads of pedestrians, and but I kind of assumed that none of them would step out in front of me, even though it was clear as day. But somebody did, and then I came off my bike. As a result, it wasn't my fault, but I learnt a very important lesson that day, and that was that people do stupid things. Always remember that people can do stupid things. Even if you're in the right, people can still do something wrong. So if you're approaching a junction and there's a car looking to turn out, always think, right, will that car pull out? And if it does, will I be able to stop in time? Things like that are really useful. So always look for potential hazards. Even if you're cycling correctly, remember that people do stupid things. Um, I know it seems like quite a negative video, but I just thought I'd share some of my thoughts and experience with you guys today. It's a really important thing, and yeah, if you're going to take anything away from it, just think that cycling is a reasonably safe activity. When done correctly, obviously it has its risks, but so do most sports. Um, but yeah, ride safe and see you soon, guys. Cheers.